Recorded in Chicago, Illinois, with your hosts, Ken, Matt, Neal, and Jeff. This is Triviality. The cream of the crop!
Hello and welcome to Triviality, the game where a lack of seriousness meets a little bit of knowledge. My name is Neal, and sitting across me, I'm going to introduce him first today. That's Ken. How's it going, Ken?
Thank you. One take, Neal, as per your reputation.
That's true. I try to do as much as I can in one take without having to redo it. Jeff, how are you doing today? You're to my right.
I'm very well. Just desperately looking for a pen that doesn't click.
That is your...
Thank you for that.
Yes, thank you for no clicks today. We do want clicks on the episode, but not clicks from your pen.
Yeah, it only took us about 15 episodes and copious amounts of yelling at me to figure that one out.
And I banned clicker pens on the episodes.
He did. He banned clicker pens like the boy who got detention.
I'm the hard ass of this show, I think.
Well, in high school, do you remember Mr.
I do.
I was in a class once with him, and he was like, all right, who's ever clicking that pen, click it one more time and you get detention. And all of a sudden you heard... and then the kid got detention.
What are you doing with that pen, Neal?
I can control myself, though.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
And sitting across from us is an empty chair because Matt is not here today.
He's never here.
He's never
we have
here.
this chair in memoriam.
So he's in LA now.
He's in LA. And what's he doing today, Ken?
I think he went over to Man's Chinese Theater to put his palms in the wet cement, right?
Yep.
But I think he screwed up and he did his feet instead, right?
I think so. And I think he actually was taken away by authorities because you're not legally allowed to do that by yourself.
Right.
So
he just poured his own concrete.
Yeah, he brought his own concrete and poured
right in
it
the middle of the street.
I'd like to see Matt mixing concrete. All right, well,
maybe that could be one of the bets.
Ooh, I would love to see that, and I hope that he gets stuck forever. So we have some very special guests joining us today. We'll get to our special guest host just in a minute, but I'd like to introduce our contestants that are going to be playing against Jeff and Ken, and that is Bailie Hildebrand and her husband Dave Hildebrand, and they're from Atlanta. How's it going?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey guys, going good.
Good. So glad to have you here. I'll let you introduce yourselves and what you do out there in Atlanta, but we do want to say that you just got married in May, so congratulations for that.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So part of your honeymoon and your contract, it was to come on this podcast. We don't have sunny skies or beaches or anything like
Pina
that.
coladas,
but we do have all-you-can-eat buffet. So.
Oh, yes.
Can't beat that.
Yeah, that was in our contract.
I have as much sadness and regret as that song.
Pina coladas.
Yeah.
Well, a sad song.
Escape.
We'd like to give a shout out to our friends Julia and Lauren over at Misinformation, our sister podcast, because they introduced Bailie to us, or at least we had some sort of conversation going on through both of them. So they're awesome. So if you're not subscribed to them, please subscribe. But Bailie, why don't you give us a rundown of what you both are doing in Atlanta and a little bit about yourself?
Oh, awesome. We moved to Atlanta about 3 years ago. I'm a civil engineer in stormwater. And Dave, what about you?
I'm a graphic designer and work in the arts.
Nice.
Yeah.
We're trying to do that.
Yeah. The arts it's fun. You guys have a great dynamic there for your couple because Bailie is doing some really important work that I could never even touch any sort of engineering. And then I'm very similar to Dave in the arts. And you're just trying to do your best and hope people like your stuff, really.
Yeah,
so
that's exactly right.
Yeah. Well, great. So we'll have to talk to you about some graphic design stuff for maybe our team names today or for Matt. I don't know. We'll have to give a robot avatar. But let's move over to our special guest host. He's coming to us from Bethesda, Maryland, just right outside of D.C. And that's Bryan Brensinger. How's it going, Bryan?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I live in Bethesda. I grew up in Philly and moved here after college. I am a molecular biologist, and I'm doing a master's in biomedical engineering right now. So I have no free time. So this is all I do and watch football. And I'm really sad Matt's not on here. I wrote 2 sports questions just for him, and he's not going to get to see them.
Oh, well,
we'll read them to him later.
Yes, we'll read them to him later.
Tuck him in with it.
Yeah.
And we're really happy to see that you have a nice Bears poster behind you and a Bears jersey you're wearing.
Oh, yeah, no, never. I got a nice Green Bay Star Wars poster behind me. It says... what does it say? Join us now.
Yeah, the Green Bay Empire. It would make sense that Green Bay would be Darth Vader in the Empire. So ultimately they lose. But no, I'm just kidding.
It's actually Aaron Rodgers in that suit.
Yeah, right. No, but he has a great Packers jersey on, a Packers poster, which we love. It's a friendly rivalry here. But yeah, thank you for joining us, and thank both of you for being Patreon supporters. We really appreciate it. You're both Cruiserweight champions, and it means a lot that you donate money towards the show. It helps us keep it going and keep it the best we can. So thank you so much for that. All right, so it's going to be Ken and Jeff. Now, Bailie and Dave just got married, so I think their team name, if it's okay with you two, is going to be the Newlyweds.
Works for us.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you two want to be? You guys are kind of like a married couple.
Yeah, we've definitely been told before we're like a married old couple, so we're going to be the old married couple.
The old married couple. All right.
We bicker and argue, and, you know, deep down we love each other. After all these years.
Take intensely romantic vacations together.
Yeah, that we have.
Yeah, I know.
I need to turn that around.
I don't know why you guys keep sending me videos of you in the hot spring together, just, you know, lamenting about things. All right, well, we got our teams. The old...
I regret nothing.
From the Blue Lagoon in Iceland, let's toss it to the rules guy.
Yeah.
The rules of the game are simple. 20 questions split into 2 rounds worth 10 points apiece. At halftime, there'll be a special swing round designed by this week's host. After regulation, players will enter the final round with the points that they've accumulated and will have a chance to wager 0 to 30 points on 5 categorized questions. At the end of the game, someone will be named the cream of the crop.
Cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
Can almost hear the bubbles coming up, you know?
Yeah, you can hear the steam, the bubbles, and
I think he was wearing the silicone mask.
I don't even know how it's possible, but I feel like through his vocal cords, I could see excellent skin.
Yeah, and I feel a little warmer now.
I feel warmer as well. Well, I'm going to be color commentary. I'm not going to play. I'm just going to be over here. But if it's a question... Play-by-play. If I know the question, I will try to answer it if it's a fun one if you guys don't. But let's throw it to Brian to kick things off.
So the first question is, Ron Artest, who is now Meta World Peace, ran into the stands and threw a punch at a fan he thought threw a drink at him, but he actually hit the wrong person. This event became known as the Malice at the Palace. Which 2 teams were playing in this game? I just need one of the teams for your answer, and both for two extra points.
Any idea?
I thought he played for the Lakers, but I could be wrong.
Okay. So let's just say Lakers for our first answer. And
we only need one.
Bonus, though.
Bonus for both?
Let's go with the hometown Bulls. Let's do it.
Sure.
All
Okay.
right.
Yeah, I've got no idea. So okay.
Miami Heat and the Cavs.
Okay.
All right, we're going to lock in with the Heat and the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Good rivalry there, maybe. I don't know. Jeff said he thought he was on the Lakers, and then for our bonus answer, we're going to go with the Bulls.
Okay, so this happened in 2004. It was actually crazy. He almost killed a guy. So it was at the Palace at Auburn Hills, which is where the Detroit Pistons used to play. So that was Detroit Pistons, and then they were playing the Indiana Pacers.
Oh, right.
He did play for the Lakers, though, right?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
He changed it. That's when he was Meta World Peace.
All right, number 2.
Okay, number 2. So I know how much you guys love alcohol. So most cocktails actually can be pretty easily broken down into only 3 components. You have a sour ingredient, a sweet ingredient, and then alcohol. Following this logic, a true old-fashioned is made of Angostura bitters, sugar, and whiskey, and it's usually either bourbon or rye, and then it's garnished with an orange peel. For people who like alcohol with even more alcohol, there's this drink, which is Angostura bitters, sweet vermouth instead of sugar, and whiskey, even though it's usually often rye whiskey, and then garnished with a maraschino cherry. What is the name of that drink?
So if you add vermouth to it, and no idea for you.
I was trying to think of anything I could think of with a maraschino cherry.
New fashioned. I mean, that's kind of sounds like an old fashioned.
A new old fashioned?
What's the thing with the vermouth in it? Yeah, let's say a new fashioned.
Okay.
Or newfangled.
New old fashioned.
New fashioned.
Well, we are remembering all the drinks that we can think of that have darker liquor in them.
Right.
So we
could go like Manhattan or something like that.
We're also throwing around the Aviator.
The Aviator.
Show me the blueprints.
Yeah. But we don't have that much milk and urine.
That's all I do every weekend is I sit in a movie theater naked in a chair and just put urine in jars.
Yeah, you want to just... I feel like Manhattan is its own classic cocktail, and this is more of like a second... like with Pokemon, it would be,
Yellow.
the Pearl generation.
Oh, right. Mhm. Okay.
What about going with the Aviator?
All right, yeah, let's do
okay,
it. Let's do it.
we're gonna lock in with the Aviator.
All right. Yeah, we didn't know really on this one. I liked your idea of the Manhattan because I think that does have a cherry in it, but we just put the new fashion.
So close. I don't like that you called my favorite drink second class, though.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. So, so this is actually one of the oldest drinks. It's one of the first that's considered like truly American, and one of the first cocktails to use vermouth at all. It's the Manhattan.
Oh no!
So
marriage.
no points, right?
No
Nope.
points.
No points.
I'm not in the doghouse.
Yeah.
I gotta agree with the wife, All right.
Okay, so this is number 3, and this is one of my few movie questions in here. So just who was in, which individual was in each of the 3 movies? Ender's Game, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and Pitch Perfect 2.
I don't know the cast of Ender's Game well enough to do this.
I've never seen it,
So let's
unfortunately.
say Nick Cage had a cameo in Pitch Perfect 2.
Okay.
Or John Mulaney? No, he wouldn't be in Ender's Game.
Yeah, I know it's tough.
This is frustrating with all the voices that we're naming.
Right.
Let's say Elizabeth Banks.
Okay.
All right.
All right, they're locked in.
A common joke of the show is about National Treasure. So, in homage to that, we're saying Nick Cage.
Go Nick Cage.
Nick
Locked in.
Cage. We did talk about Nick Cage. I highly doubt that he's in Pitch Perfect 2. Maybe a cameo. I don't know. We picked somebody who could have been a voice in Spider-Verse and is definitely in Pitch Perfect 2. And we have no idea about Ender's Game, but she does do movies like that. So we said Elizabeth Banks.
So I believe both teams were starving for the right answer, and that would be Haley Steinfeld,
Oh, really?
I think.
It is Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah.
Is that a song that she does?
Starving, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't get that reference.
That's just a deep pop music reference for someone. But yes. So no points there, unfortunately. I love that you were talking about Nick Cage because they were also talking about Nick Cage a lot. So it was great.
Is Haley Steinfeld Spider-Gwen?
She's
I think so, yeah.
Spider-Gwen, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay, so next is a literature-ish question. Cat's Cradle by Kurt Vonnegut is about an author who is writing a book about the creation of the atomic bomb from the perspective of the children of fictional Dr. Honecker. Ironically, the world is nearly destroyed not by nuclear war, but because of what substance, which was also created by Dr. Honecker. A metalcore band formed in 2002 with albums including Safe as Just a Shadow, The Predator Becomes the Prey, Every Trick in the Book, and most recently 2018's The Silver Scream, was named after and shares its name with this substance.
And we are locked in for sure on this one.
So I know the exact thing that we're talking about because this is my favorite Kurt Vonnegut book. However, and y'all are locked in, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I think it's Ice 9. It's basically, it can create ice instantly. So if you wanted to cross a sea, you could just drop this in. It would solidify and you could drive your tanks over it. But it got out of control. And I think if it's not Ice 9, it's painfully and tragically close. But I think we should lock in with Ice 9.
All right. Yeah, I haven't heard of the metalcore band named Ice 9, but I like your logic, so let's do it.
It does sound good as a metalcore band name, though. And we also went with Ice 9.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, the substance, if it touches water, it makes everything turn to ice. The band, maybe you should have said this, the band is technically called Ice 9 Kills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, those guys.
Yeah.
Points on the board for both teams.
Also glad everybody enjoys metalcore.
Yeah.
Also the best Kurt Vonnegut book.
Yes,
Indeed.
definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you guys asked me to be able to write a quiz, I had my fiance write 2 questions. So this is one of them. So if it's terrible,
Blame your
her.
fiance? Is that what you're saying? Is this the
Yeah.
foot you want to get started off on?
Our game always is about new marriage, happy marriage, and then you're blaming your fiance over here.
Yeah.
fine. I've got time.
What's your fiance's name, by the way, to give a shout out?
It's Lydia Helwig. She probably will listen to this, but I don't know.
Thank you,
if she will.
Lydia.
Yes, thank you, Lydia.
Okay, so this is from her. A photo of what got over 25 million likes on Instagram, beating the over 18 million likes on a photo by Kylie Jenner. What is the picture of? It's the most liked picture on Instagram.
Well,
What was it?
I'm trying to remember. It was
just did
really
this.
something stupid.
Was it a stapler?
No, we guessed stapler, but it was
We did guess stapler.
yeah.
Okay.
And it was I don't remember. I'm
Oh
gonna
yeah, because
double
I
down
said
on it.
lip balm.
Did you?
Yeah, it's a stapler.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Okay, they're locked in over
All
here.
right, we're tortured here because we had this question recently and we can't.
Oh.
We still couldn't quite think of
yeah.
it. So we might be wrong, but we were thinking it might be a stapler.
I think it was from an account on Instagram that had like one picture only. And I visited it one time. I didn't like it. I think I came back like a week later and decided to like it. I think, and it's interesting because it's ironic that it was like Twitter's default profile picture. I think it is an egg.
It is.
Going
God,
egg.
he's right.
Yeah, so
Son of
I
a-
don't really know too much about this, but I remember seeing something where people were like, Kylie Jenner got 18 million likes. What about this picture of an egg? And it was an egg. And it got 25 million, which is...
It sucks
Cool, I
because
guess.
I wasn't even close to that. We just heard that. We said the answer that was the wrong answer that we gave.
So we don't vote ever, but we like an egg. So
Yeah.
Voting was as easy as that. Yeah,
exactly.
basically.
After 5 questions, it's a tight game. It's just 20-10. So the newlyweds are in the lead.
Okay. Number 6. One of the few science questions in here. The corpus callosum separates what from what?
Yep, we're locked in.
Cool.
I believe this is the right and left sides of the brain.
Yep, we said it. It's the thing that conjoins both hemispheres of the brain.
Yep. It's a bundle of nerve fibers that separates the left and right hemispheres. Great
Nice.
job. I have a hard time writing science questions because I never know what's not science people know.
That wasn't terribly easy.
Okay.
Jeff just happened to know it.
So I hope you guys like pop music. In the song Closer by the Chainsmokers featuring Halsey.
I thought you were going to say
song-
9 Inch Nails.
I was getting excited.
That poppy hit closer.
Do-do-do-do.
In the song Closer by Chainsmokers featuring Halsey, a song by what artist did they beat to death in Tucson?
Britney Spears. Okay. We're locked in.
Oh boy.
So
We have
beat
no
to
idea.
death in Tucson. Does that mean they sampled a song and played it over and over again within that
So
song?
we're looking for an artist.
Yes.
What if it was Johnny Cash? Just because he killed a man in Reno.
Well, Reno, Nevada, Tucson, Arizona. It's close.
It walks the line, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, let's just lock in.
Yeah, we'll lock in with Johnny Cash.
And we said Britney Spears.
This song, whenever I hear it, gets stuck in my head for like 3 days. I guess I'm the only one. So the line from the song is, stay and play that Blink-182 song that we beat to death in Tucson.
Okay.
Oh, it rhymes with song.
Yeah, it was a song, so it's not
Yeah.
helpful at all. Okay, next one, some geography. With nearly 48,500 people per square mile, Monaco has the highest population density of any sovereign nation. Which has the lowest?
Yeah, we're locked in.
What about Vatican City? Because I know that not a lot of people live there, but it's so small.
We're talking low population
density. Yeah.
So
Oh,
we're
so
talking
big.
Big spaces,
Okay.
little people. I think a little amount of people. I think that Mongolia could be an interesting guess because it is, pretty wide open. I know the population's low. It's right there under China,
Mm-hmm.
I guess, right around there. It's really huge. I know Australia's big, but they have a few cities,
Right.
Sydney, Perth, Adelaide. So what do you think about?
I like Mongolia.
Okay, we're gonna lock in with Mongolia.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of countries that are relatively sparsely populated. The one I enjoyed in Europe is Iceland, but I believe the correct answer is Mongolia. It's got 3 million people and about half the size of China, so we said Mongolia.
Yeah, so the Monaco was a clue. It is Mongolia. So fun fact, Mongolia has 5 people per square mile. The Vatican has 5.9 popes per square mile.
Nice.
So yeah, it's not a lot of people. I tried finding the the density of the United States, and I couldn't find like a straight answer if it was like continental U.S. or like included Alaska. So I got nothing. Okay, so this one also has some bonus points. So a media franchise is anything that starts as like a book, a film, a TV show, video game, comic book, etc., and then expands to some other forms of media. So if you combine all aspects of revenue from a media franchise, so this includes like box office, merchandise, everything, what is the highest grossing media franchise of all time? And then for a bonus, give me whatever is number 2 or number 3.
Okay, we will break to discuss.
Actually, I'm locked in here.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm positive.
So we are throwing around. We know number 1. So we're throwing around our number 2 or number 3 options. And we have down so far Star Wars and Hello Kitty, which imagine a mashup. That'd be great.
Oh boy.
So adorable.
Darth Tuxedo Sam.
Yes.
We can go ahead and lock in with our number 1, and that's Pokemon.
And I think number 2 we could lock in with.
And we're going to go with the classic Star Wars for number 2.
The old Star War.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember this question was on HQ one time, and we got it wrong. It's Pokemon is number 1, I believe, and we also went with Star Wars as our second guess.
Okay, so yeah, at $95 billion, Pokemon is number 1, which that's crazy. Star Wars is number 5.
Whoa.
Yeah, way far down. Number 2 is Hello Kitty at $80 billion.
Wow.
That's not. Oh my god.
Which I shocking. And then the craziest to me was number 3. Winnie the Pooh is number 3.
Oh, wow.
Oh, there, Pooh there. I can't do that voice. It's too hard.
What was that?
I don't know what that was.
The rabbit?
I was trying to do Winnie the Pooh where he's like, oh, the honey. I can't do it. That's such a unique voice. I can't do it.
I think that one needs to be built in.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right, so regular 10 points and no bonus.
Okay, so last question. What element is the most abundant in the universe?
Okay, we're locked in.
So we were stuck in between hydrogen and nitrogen, but I think at the end of the day, we're locking in with hydrogen.
Yep, we think it's not even close. We think
Ichiban, number 1.
Yep, hydrogen.
Yep, it is not close. Really, the only element in space is hydrogen, which stars then through fusion make some helium, but it's like 0.1% of the total. So it's hydrogen, and it's not close.
Yep, and then when you start blowing stuff up, then it gets exciting.
Yeah.
All right, famous last words. All right. So after the first round, very tight still. The newlyweds are just edging out the old married couple, so it's 60-50 going into the swing round.
They still have that spark,
Yeah, they still have it. They have the spark. You guys are...
We're in the next phase.
We're settled in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The honeymoon phase is over. You gotta start working.
We're in the comfortable phase.
Yeah.
You got to bring out the handcuffs or whatever, and
we're pooping in front of each other now.
Is that what that's the marker?
That's phase 2.
Yeah.
Before we go to Brian's swing round that he prepared, just want to remind everyone we're very excited. We're going to be at TriviaCon, Sporkle's TriviaCon in Vegas. So make sure to go to sporkle.com, look up the event page. You'll get to see a write-up of what we're doing. We're doing a sort of a fun version of our game where everyone can play individually and win money and some other prizes. So we're really looking forward to that. So it'll be me, Jeff, Ken, and Matt going out there, hanging out in Vegas. I'm going to be making sure I see Penn and Teller, maybe see our friends over at our podcast, Ice Cream Social. We'll see what we do over there, but it'll be a fun time in Vegas. Can't wait to meet all of you. If we haven't met you in person, please come introduce yourselves, and we're excited to meet you and interact with everyone. But TriviaCon, we'll be there. Look it up. And we're pretty excited, right, Jeff?
Time for the swing round.
Yeah. All right, Brian, up to you.
Okay, so this swing round is one of my favorite things, which is video games. So I have a list of 10 quotes, I guess, from video games, and then I just want you to tell me like the game or franchise it's from. So like for an example, if I say like the princess is in another castle, you don't have to say like which specific Mario, just like Mario, Super Mario Brothers is fine.
Okay.
So I do have both the person who said it and the year the game came out, and I can give any combination of that or neither.
Okay.
Whatever you guys want.
Sure. That sounds fine.
Both of them? Okay.
Sure.
So the first one is Stay a While and Listen was spoken by Deckard Cain, and the game came out in the year 2000. Okay. Number 2, I used to be an adventurer like you until I took an arrow in the knee, and this is spoken by various NPC guards, and the game came out in 2011. Okay, this one's a little long. Well done. Here come the test results. You are a horrible person. That's what it says, a horrible person. We weren't even testing for that. Don't let that horrible person thing discourage you. It's just a data point. If it makes you feel any better, science has now validated your birth mother's decision to abandon you on a doorstep. And that was spoken by GLaDOS, and the game came out in 2011. Next one, I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of gum. And it was spoken by the title character, and the game came out in 1996. Next one, the right man in the wrong place can make all the difference in the world. And that was spoken by G-Man, and the game came out in 2004. Next, it's dangerous to go alone, take this. And that was spoken by an unnamed old man, and the game came out in 1986. Next one, Let Them Come, Frostmourne Hungers. And it was spoken by, technically, Arthas Menethil, and the game came out in 2002.
Okay.
This one, I don't know if you guys can have to bleep this. Nothing is more badass than treating a woman with respect. And that was Mr. Torg, and the game came out in 2012. Next one, Do a Barrel Roll, spoken by Peppy Hare, and the game came out in 1997. And then lastly, so this is like the entire clue, and I'll say what's the actual quote. And lastly, would you kindly tell me who said, a man chooses, a slave obeys? So the quote is, a man chooses, a slave obeys. And it was spoken by Andrew Ryan, and the game was from 2007.
All right, I have to say, this swing round really turned me on, I gotta say. I really enjoyed this one. So let's go ahead back to the start. We'll get the questions one more time, and we'll give our answers.
Sure. So the first one is Stay a While and Listen, and it was spoken by Deckard Cain, and the game was from the year 2000.
Yeah, voiced by not Sean Connery. Stay a while and listen. That is Diablo. Probably Diablo 2.
We said Fallout.
Yeah, it was specifically Diablo 2, but they say it in Diablo 2 and 3, and it is Diablo.
You have quite a treasure there in that Haradra cube.
Okay, the next one. I used to be an adventurer like you until I took an arrow in the knee, and various NPC guards spoke this, and the game was from 2011.
This is a game that also cost me approximately 600 hours of my life. That's Skyrim.
Hey, we said Skyrim, and I had like a little lizard lady that I named Lizzie McGuire.
Yep, one of the biggest time sinks ever made. That's the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim.
I thought about downloading it for my Nintendo Switch, and then I realized I like living, so...
Didn't you have one of those cat people, and you named it Cat Stevens?
I did, yeah.
Okay, the third one, the hardest part for this was deciding which quote to use. So the quote that I chose was, well done, here come the test results, you are a horrible person. And that was GLaDOS in 2011.
Well, when Neal invited us over for this recording today, he promised there would be cake. I do not see any around here.
That's a lie.
And so we said Portal.
We also said Portal, which happens to be my favorite video game of all time.
Yeah, our favorite game, yeah.
Yep, so it was Portal 2, but yeah, Portal is right. Okay, the next one, I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of gum. And it was the title character in 1996.
Yeah, we're pretty sure this is Duke Nukem, just being a general tough guy.
Oh, man. That's a great answer. On the topic of general tough guy, we're going to go Earthworm Jim.
Very tough.
Very close.
Very toxic masculinity from Earthworm Jim most of the time.
Yeah, almost all the lines of this game were ripped from like pretty bad movies. So it was from a movie that they kind of stole, but it was Duke Nukem, and specifically it was Duke Nukem 3D that
It's
they
from
set up
They
for the
Live,
first time.
right?
From They Live, yep. That's Rowdy Piper.
Yeah.
The right man in the wrong place can make all the difference in the world, and that was spoken by G-Man in 2004.
Yep, that's right. Mr. Freeman, Half-Life 2 specifically, I think, but we're just going to say Half-Life.
And we didn't know this one, so we guessed around that year. Halo 2 came out, so we locked in with Halo 2.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I didn't realize this until right now. I think Portal was a mod of Half-Life.
Yeah, Valve made both games, so they probably
Yeah.
took the engines.
Yeah, well, it is Half-Life 2 specifically, but yeah, Half-Life is right. Okay, next one. It's dangerous to go alone. Take this. And it was from an unnamed old man in 1986.
That, we believe, is The Legend of Zelda.
That we also believe is The Legend of Zelda.
Yep, the original game, The Legend of Zelda. Right, one of the first things you see is an old man giving you a little sword, I think. Next one, Let Them Come, Frostmourne Hungers. And it was technically Arthas Menethil in 2002.
Yeah, this didn't ring a bell, but it does sound vaguely zombie-like, so we said Resident Evil.
And we locked in with BioShock.
No points. So this was from Warcraft 3. So Arthas Menethil took the sword Frostmourne and became the Lich King, which is like the main point of that game. So yeah, it was Warcraft 3. Okay, number 8. 8. Nothing is more badass than treating a woman with respect. And it was Mr. Torg in 2012.
Yeah, we had no idea on this one either, so we said Fallout.
So we went with a game with a strong female lead, and we are going to guess Lara Croft, Tomb Raider.
Yeah, sorry, no points again. So this is a lot of the games are like they're first-person shooter games that like try to be a little bit funny. I was deciding between using a claptrap line, if that helps anyone.
This was my first guess, I'm pretty sure.
It's Borderlands.
Yeah.
Number 9, do a barrel roll, and it's Peppy Hair.
Yep, Star Fox 64, classic.
Yes, very classic. I think one of the first games I owned is Star Fox.
Yep, Star Fox 64. And lastly, would you kindly tell me who said a man chooses, a slave obeys? And it was Andrew Ryan in 2007.
And this is my favorite game, and you guys said it earlier, BioShock.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. We went with Splinter Cell.
Yep, it is BioShock. The would you kindly is like the psychological ticker. I don't know the exact word. It makes the main character do things. And it was one of the best games ever, BioShock.
Yep.
So it was a very strong swing round for the old married couple. They picked up 40 points there, bringing their score to 90. And they've actually taken the lead, a slight lead over the newlyweds who picked up 20 points in the swing round, and they're at 80. So it's 90 to 80 going into round 2.
I knew all those hours wasted were good for something.
Not wasted. They're good for free trivia points.
Yep.
Okay, so starting off again with the sports question. And again, this one is a bit hard for sports questions, so I'm sorry. There are only 2 players to have at least one rushing touchdown in 4 different Super Bowls. Both of these players are in the Hall of Fame, and they have a combined record of 2-6 in those games. Give me any one of them for the points, and then both of them for 2 bonus points.
Okay, they're locked in over here.
So I was thinking it could be from the 70s Dolphins, and I think Dan Marino was quarterback around that time. I'm not sure how many Super Bowls they went to, and I don't know how many he actually played in. And I thought that could be a good answer, but we're not going to do it. So we're going to lock in with Emmitt Smith, and hoping that the Cowboys few Super Bowls landed that. And then we're going to go with Barry Sanders as our backup.
How about them Cowboys? Not a thing I remember specifically, so I just guessed a Patriot that I thought was maybe on the team for a couple of years, but didn't win with all of them because it's possible in that span they could have been 2-2. So I just said the law firm himself, Ben Jarvis Green Ellis. I didn't have a second one.
Oh, okay. So one of these teams was 0-4, and that was the Buffalo Bills.
I couldn't remember anyone on that team.
Yeah, their running back was named Thurman Thomas, and he was one of the only ones to score a touchdown against the Cowboys when they started taking over their franchise, or like having their dynasty. And then the second one, you actually guys were on the right track. The second one isn't a running back; it's a quarterback, and he was 2-2 in his Super Bowls, and it's John Elway.
That would have been my guess, because I know he had that famous one where he like jumped and they basically like spun him around 360.
I thought they were only in 3. I couldn't remember a fourth one because I was thinking about the Broncos, but I was thinking of maybe like McCaffrey, but he was a wide receiver, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. This next one is a little bit long, so I will repeat as needed. The network Showtime is trying to cash in on the success of Game of Thrones, and they chose a pretty great foundation, a fantasy book series that isn't finished yet and keeps getting delayed. However, they did manage to get Lin-Manuel Miranda to write the music for the show, as music is a huge part of the main character's life in the book. What is the name of the series? And a little bit of a note, the show is technically set to be a prequel to the books, but they do have the same name. And you can either give me like the colloquial name of the series or the name of the first book.
All right, so that's a little tricky because His Dark Materials is on HBO.
It is.
And it stars Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Right.
But I don't know what this other one is. We could say Sandman, maybe. Let's just say Sandman.
Okay.
Okay.
We are going to lock in with His Dark Materials.
Yeah, we did discuss His Dark Materials. That's going to be on that is on HBO. It started, and it stars Lin-Manuel Miranda, but I don't think he did the music. So we just had to end up taking a guess. We just picked a Neil Gaiman series and said The Sandman.
None of those are right. So if you haven't heard or read these books, they are as good or better than Game of Thrones. And the series is about like the main character. They're traveling musicians, and they're obviously music is obviously very important to their lives. And the name of the series is called Kingkiller Chronicle, and the first book was called Name of the Wind. It's about a guy named Kavoth and his family. So the prequel is technically about Kavoth's parents and their traveling band of musicians.
Okay.
So yeah, it's Kingkiller Chronicle.
Oh, that's Patrick Rothfuss, right?
Yep, it is.
Yeah.
They are amazing books.
I do have the first book in that series, and I've never picked it up.
Come on.
It's
man.
awesome. It's might be better than Game of Thrones, but also he wrote the second book 8 years ago and said the third would be out in a year. And it's 8 years later.
All right, number 3.
Okay, number 3. Who was the first sitting U.S. president to visit Europe while in office?
I feel like it was Madison. I feel like it was pretty early. Madison?
Jefferson had a thing.
Jefferson
for the French.
did. Jefferson did. He did for sure.
Yeah, why?
I heard a podcast.
Okay, yeah.
All right, we're gonna lock in with FDR going to travel over for World War II.
And we're going way earlier. I remember hearing specifically about Jefferson traveling to France. I'm not positive it was during the presidency, but I thought it was. So we said Jefferson.
Yeah, so I was shocked how late this was. Thomas Jefferson was Secretary of State when he traveled to France. And you guys were so close. What happened before World War II? World War One.
Yeah.
So Woodrow Wilson went to sign the Paris Peace Conference in 1918. He was the first to go to Europe, to me, that felt super late.
Yeah.
And he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for his work with the Paris Peace Conference. Yep, and then this is the only good transition I have. Woodrow Wilson won his Nobel Peace Prize for the Paris Peace Conference. There's 2 people that have won both an Oscar and a Nobel Prize. Who are they? I just 1 for the answer and then 2 for 2 more bonus points.
Okay. So what do you think? Maybe Bob Dylan for some music?
Oscar and a Nobel Peace Prize. Peace Prize, right?
3-6 Mafia.
He said Peace Prize, right?
Yeah. Oh, no, he just said Nobel Prize.
I think I know this one.
Well, what about Newman? He wouldn't have won, right?
Paul Newman? Oh. Maybe.
What about Capra? Because he won an Oscar for sure, and he also documented war.
Oh. That's
like on the front lines.
Right. Yeah, we can say you want to do that and Reagan in case you happen to win.
I know the list pretty well.
I don't think he won.
So we could say, what was for Capra and I don't know.
We'll go Capra and Reagan.
Okay. Yeah, we just took a stab in the dark. We thought maybe Bob Dylan maybe won for some song work, and he was famously given for literature and denied the Nobel Prize. Then our second guess was Paul Newman for his excellent work in the salad dressing industry.
Neal, did you?
Yeah, I was thinking maybe he kept his awards in a lockbox, so I'm going to say Al Gore.
So Al Gore is actually one of the things that most people say. He didn't win the Oscar.
Oh.
He got nominated.
They lost the documentary, didn't they?
Yeah. Sorry, my dog just ran up. Bob Dylan did win. He won the Nobel Prize
For literature.
For literature, for his music and poetry. And then he won for the song Things Have Changed in the movie The Wonder Boys in 2001.
Oh, that's right.
And the other was George Bernard Shaw. He won his Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay for writing Pygmalion, the movie Pygmalion. And he also won the Nobel Prize in Lit for writing Pygmalion.
Nice.
Double dipping. No, I see how that goes.
Yeah.
Number 5. Again, this is from my wonderful fiance Lydia.
Lydia.
Each year, good save. Each year, a dog is crowned world's ugliest dog. This year's winner, Scamp the Tramp, is partially which national-sounding breed, which has the most wins for world's ugliest dog.
So we're playing on the national hint. We're trying to think of like a German Shepherd, an Australian Sheep Hound. So I remember seeing pictures of these dogs, and I feel like they were always on the smaller side.
Yeah.
More gremlin-esque than anything.
Portuguese water dog was like the Obama dog.
Yeah.
Obama dog.
Scottish Terrier.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna log in with Scottish Terrier.
Yep, we kind of took the same route. We just started naming nations that had dogs named after them. We got around to the bulldogs, and we had a little debate about American English and French. And I said English bulldogs usually look like Winston Churchill, so we said English bulldogs.
Those are gross dogs. But no, none of those are right. So I don't know anything about this. I just Googled what they look like, and they are disgusting. They are called Chinese crested dogs.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
90% hairless, and they have like a little like tuft of fur.
Yeah,
They're
I've seen
disgusting.
And if any listeners have one of those dogs, we love all dogs here. But
And please send pictures
Yes.
of your Chinese crested
Put them in the crop
No.
on the discussion thread for
Please
this.
don't. Please don't.
all right, after 5, only 10 points from the old married couple so far this round. So it's 100 to 80. Still very close.
Okay, well, this should at least give Jeff some points. The circulatory system is composed primarily of the heart, arteries, capillaries, and veins. Most arteries carry oxygenated blood, and most veins deoxygenated. Which artery is the only to carry deoxygenated, and which vein is the only to carry oxygenated?
I can't name a vein. Can you?
You okay?
Sorry.
Doing all right over there?
I just did that stupid line from Roadhouse. I'm going to go drain the main vein. Sorry.
You're good.
Okay, we're gonna lock in with carotid.
Actually, we said the same thing. Carotid.
Oh, okay. So the real definition of an artery is anything that travels away from the heart after it leaves the left ventricle, which is where it actually pumps. Mm-hmm. So almost all blood goes into the heart and then goes everywhere to get oxygen and then comes back to the veins with like waste products and CO2. The only difference, when you need to get new oxygen to your blood, you send it from the heart to the lungs, and then the lungs send the blood back. So deoxygenated blood goes from the heart to the lungs, and then oxygenated comes from the lungs back to the heart. So they are the pulmonary veins and pulmonary arteries.
That makes perfect sense when you put it that way.
I should have thought about that.
Okay, number 7. This is obligatory art, and I don't know if it's hard. Which Impressionist painter's work includes Impression Sunrise, Woman with a Parasol, and the water lily pond.
Okay, we're locked in.
You can lock in, right? Yeah, on that.
All right, we're locked in.
All right, we're saying Monet.
We said Monet.
Yep, it's Claude Monet.
Hey.
Got some points. All right.
All right, number 8.
Okay.
No Monet
my-
jokes, right? No, you're good? Okay. Number 8.
From my favorite TV show, in the Marine Biologist episode of Seinfeld, what item is Jerry's golden boy?
I'm locked in. I'm going to lock in with a guess.
Okay.
Okay, so my first thought on this was a sweater. Because I think it's like his special, like more special than his other sweaters. I think it's some sort of article of clothing. He doesn't wear hats.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's his golden boy sweater. So we'll lock in with sweater.
And I said the Superman statue because I had no idea.
So you guys get points. It's his favorite T-shirt.
Yeah.
He keeps washing it, and it gets less and less gold, and then it gets destroyed, and he has to go to his new favorite shirt, baby blue.
That's always depressing.
Yeah.
That's happening with these pants right now.
My golden boy.
My pants.
Okay, number 9. In 1066, William the Conqueror became the first Norman king of Britain after the Battle of Hastings. In 1086, William created Britain's first public record, containing a huge survey of land holdings, and is by far the most complete pre-industrial record to survive to today. What is the name of that record?
That's not the Magna Carta, is
That's
it?
what I was thinking.
Okay.
So, yeah, we just had the same idea, so.
We're locked in.
Yeah, we're locked in.
I've heard of something called like the golden record.
Was the last question about a gold?
Yeah, so I think that mine might be contaminated.
I like that.
With gold.
Do you want to lock in with that?
Golden record?
Yeah, William the Conqueror's golden sweater record.
Golden sweater record. Yeah, we'll lock in with golden record.
We both said Magna Carta separately, and we just said, that sounds good.
I don't know what the Magna Carta is. I think it was later, but I don't know.
Was that album by Jay-Z, right?
It's the Domesday Book.
Ooh. The Doomsday Book.
No.
Is that what you said?
Domesday.
Oh,
Domesday.
That's less interesting.
Yeah, way less cool. Okay, last one, number 10. Odin, in Norse mythology, is often seen with his 2 ravens, Hugin and Munin, his spear Gungir, I don't know, and his 8-legged horse named Sleipnir. Who is the mother of Sleipnir, who is also the parent of Fenrir, the massive wolf, Jormungandr, the world serpent, and Hel, the goddess of the dishonored dead?
We're locked in.
Yeah, we're good.
Oh, boy. So, shout out to Misinformation here because I need to listen to their Norse mythology episode again because they cover all of this and more. But I think that this horse's parents are not horses at all.
It's a horse of a different color.
Yeah. It sounds like a curse word. It's like Frigga. Frigga is a very popular lady in Norse mythology. And I think that might be our best.
Yeah, I can't help you on this
yeah.
one.
So we'll lock in with Frigga.
I think Rebecca Black really likes her too.
Yeah.
It's a great song.
So we're just going to give an answer that's kind of really chill. It's really low-key. Yeah, this is an extra weird little Norse mythology thing. We think it's Loki.
Yep, it's Loki. Yeah, he turns into a female horse to prevent a giant from building a wall around Asgard. To win a bet.
Obviously.
That's what I always do when I'm trying to prevent giants from doing things.
Yeah. And then he has a kid, and he's the mother, technically.
I think I'm going to write Norse mythology fanfic in my spare time.
Just because anything goes.
Yeah.
Going into the final round after regulation, both teams are in triple digits. Triple digits. They're both in triple digits. So it's 100 for the newlyweds and 120 for the old married couple. So those are the points you have to work with. But before we get those categories, just one thank you to all our patrons, including those of them who are on the show today with Bailie and Bryan. But Jeff, how can people get in touch with us at Patreon and help support the show?
You can do so directly at patreon.com/trivialitypodcast. We've got all of our perks listed there, so if any of them are appealing to you and you are able to support the show, please feel free to find the one that best fits you.
Posters, character boxes, big loot crates, stickers, bonus episodes, discounts on merch,
payoffs for bets. Which, if today is any indication, we're headed the right direction because we had one of probably the most ridiculous bet payoffs we've ever had today, and I think I cried afterwards. So it's definitely worth checking out once that one drops. But
come on, guys, we want to quit our jobs and do more. We'll do more episodes, if we can do it. So
yeah. As our time frees up, we will dedicate more of our resources to this show. So our supporters on Patreon have allowed us to do as much as we have already done, including all of our monthly bonus episodes, our Patreon exclusive bonus episodes, our Bloodsport miniseries.
2 months of over an hour content each week for Bloodsport.
And including the video content, which Neal did all of the video editing for, and he did a hell of a job. It's really great. So check it out.
Neal.
Thank you so much to our patrons for making all of that and more possible.
All right. So Bryan, what are those final categories?
Yep. So these are not tricks. These are actually what they sound like they are. So the first one is interesting people. The second one is fun chemistry. Number 3 is new money. Number 4 is Kubrick. And number 5 is mathematicians.
All the wagers are locked in. Bryan, take it away.
Okay. Number 1, this is interesting people. And a lot of these are a little long, so get ready. I was given the birth name Lisanne Parish Cooks by my mother, who had been acquitted of 150 charges of conspiracy against the U.S. in the New York 21 Black Panther bombing trials just before my birth. I went on to star in the films Poetic Justice with Janet Jackson, as well as in the film Juice. I dated Madonna and allegedly had an affair with Whitney Houston. This was all in addition to everything else that I did that I'm much more famous for. Also a note, the New York Black Panthers is not a hint. I am notoriously considered from the West Coast.
Okay.
Fun chemistry. Large numbers of families of drugs are first isolated from a naturally occurring compound, and then the side chains are altered to change how the drug works. Morphine was first extracted from opium in the early 1800s and was widely used as a painkiller, but quickly became known for its very addictive properties during the U.S. Civil War. In 1874, C.R. Alder Wright believed he had created a drug with the same pain-killing properties, but none of the addictive side effects. What drug did Wright create, which was sold by Bayer for nearly 20 years?
Okay. Next question.
Number 3 is new money. Facebook announced its plans to propose a new cryptocurrency set to be released in 2020. It initially received backing from companies such as PayPal, Visa, eBay, and MasterCard when the currency was announced in June 2019, but they all backed out before the very first meeting in October 2019. What is the name of this cryptocurrency? Okay, number 4, Kubrick. It's pretty well known that Kubrick only has one Oscar win, but what movie did he earn a Razzie nomination for? And number 5, in mathematicians, which mathematician derived a namesake equation that established a relationship between real numbers in the form of trig functions and imaginary numbers in the form of exponentials? Even more incredibly, he did almost all of this work nearly completely blind.
Okay. We'll talk about these questions, and we'll be back with the answers. And the answers are locked in at this point. So let's get the questions one more time, see how we did.
Okay. The first one, interesting people. I was given the birth name Lisanne Parish Cooks by my mother, who had been acquitted of 150 charges of conspiracy against the United States in the New York 21 Black Panther bombings trial just before my birth. I went on to star in Poetic Justice with Janet Jackson, as well in the film Juice. I dated Madonna and allegedly had an affair with Whitney Houston, and this was all in addition to everything else that I'm more famous for. And then also the New York is not a hint. I am from the West Coast, or known for being from the West Coast.
All right. For this one, we wagered 10, and we said Tupac Shakur.
we also wagered 10 and said Tupac.
Yep, it's Tupac Shakur. I did not know that was not his real name. The next one, fun chemistry. A large number of families of drugs are first isolated from naturally occurring compounds, and then the side chains are altered to change how well the drug works. Morphine was first extracted from opium in the early 1800s and was widely used as a painkiller, but quickly became known for its addictive properties during the U.S. Civil War. In 1874, C.R. Alder Wright believed he had created a drug with the same pain-killing properties, but none of the addictive side effects. What drug did he create? And Baylor sold for nearly 20 years.
Yeah, so for 10 points, I remember a scene in the great, unfortunately canceled show The Nick, where they finally get him off of cocaine. And they're like, here's this new thing that'll make you feel good. And, it's fine. You can do it as much as you want. And it's heroin.
That's what I wrote down. Man.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. We bet 10 points, and we went with Bayer's aspirin.
Yes, I think you can still buy aspirin.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's heroin. They thought it would be not addictive at all, and it definitely is. So actually, the real chemical name for heroin is diamorphine. So it is almost exactly the same compound as morphine. Okay, number 3, new money. Facebook announced its plans to propose a new cryptocurrency set to be released in 2020. It initially received backing from companies like PayPal, Visa, eBay, and MasterCard when the cryptocurrency was announced in June 2019, but they all backed out before the very first meeting in October 2019. What is the name of the cryptocurrency?
Yeah, for another 10 points. We weren't too sure on this one, but we thought maybe Facebook and Zuckerberg wanted to honor the man who portrayed Mark Zuckerberg so well in Social Network. And we said that these are called Jesse Eisenbucks.
Nice. So we bet 5 on this, and we've heard this before, but couldn't recall it, and we think it has something to do with coins, so we said friend coin.
Oh, so close. So this was actually colloquially called Zuckbucks for a while. Didn't stick, I guess. But the answer is Libra.
Libra.
That's right. I had an L thing stuck in my head, but I'd have never gotten it.
Yeah, it's probably never going to be released anymore. But who knows? Number 4 is Kubrick. It's pretty well known Kubrick has only won 1 Oscar, but what movie did he earn a Razzie nomination for?
Yeah, you kind of threw me with this question. We wagered a big 30 on this one because I fancy myself a Kubrick fan. So I figure the Razzies haven't been around a super long time. So we're probably looking at Eyes Wide Shut era, but I really like Eyes Wide Shut. I don't think that would be a Razzie nominee. And I know that he had a hand in AI, but unfortunately he died so that Spielberg took it over. But AI was not very well received, so we said AI.
And we bet 30 points as well, and we said Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah, so this one was shocking to me when I found it out, and I didn't know if it was just a thing people knew. But the answer is The Shining. Apparently people hated it when it was released in 1980, and took a long time to be accepted as a good movie.
You stupid bastards.
Movie
More
critics.
Shining for us.
Light of my life.
Just saw Dr. Sleep. Pretty good. The sequel.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and then the last one, mathematicians. What mathematician derived a namesake equation that established a relationship between real numbers in the form of trig functions and imaginary numbers in the form of exponentials? Even more incredibly, he did all this work nearly blind.
Well, we didn't wager anything, but I guess Jeff just felt like naming a football team.
Yeah. So
And a hockey team.
I said the Oiler.
Oh, man. So I think that this is 1 equals e to the pi I, if I'm remembering that right.
Yeah, right.
E to the I
Something
pi.
like that.
Yeah.
But we also said Euler.
Yep, it's Leonard Euler and his Euler's equation. And yeah, he had issues and went blind at 30, and almost all of his work was after he was blind.
E to the
And
I
I
pi
struggle-
is -1. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you solve for 1. So we bet 20 on that.
Okay, after a thrilling final round there, it was very, very close. But it looks like the newlyweds are going to leave the game with 85 points. And just besting them by 15 points are the old married couple with 100 and today's cream of the crop.
You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
It's a very close game.
Great job, dear.
Well done. I was congratulating the other team.
Always stands the test.
So with the old married couple, any advice for the newlyweds and the soon-to-be newlywed and our host, Brian?
You know, through the tough times, just gotta, stick it out. Remember why you fell in love in the first place. Take some nice trips. I'd recommend Iceland. You can maybe go to Banff National Park. Keeps the spark alive.
That was very sweet. Jeff?
Oh, I'm just in denial.
All very good advice. Well, let's start with our special guests, Dave and Bailie. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you to Julie and Lauren and Misinformation for telling us and you to join us on the show. But anyone you'd like to say hi to? Any last words? Any parting words?
Thanks again for having us,
Yeah.
guys. That was a blast. Listen to you as much as we can, so keep coming up with that good content.
And actually, we on our way to get engaged, we drove up to the mountains and we were listening to a Triviality episode.
So it was all thanks to us.
It was all thanks.
That's
to
what
you,
I
Jeff.
heard.
We set the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had been carrying around that ring and thought,
Now's the time.
now's the time.
No, our subliminal messages work.
Yeah.
If Ken and Jeff can make it work.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Well, thank you so much for listening to us and supporting the show on Patreon as well. We really appreciate it. And Brian, thank you very much for that game. It was. I'm glad I was listening and not playing because I didn't know a lot of them, but I was able. The ones I did know, I felt good about, and it didn't matter for any points. So thank you for that. But any last words? Any shout outs?
No, thanks for letting me do this. It was one of the first times I used to be able to write questions for Fleetwit for like Seinfeld and Game of Thrones and stuff, but this was the first time I could actually tell them to people.
Nice.
That's
so
sweet.
It was fun.
Great. Thanks so much. That was fun.
Thank you. And thank you again as well for being a Patreon supporters. We really appreciate it. For Matt, who's at Man's Chinese Theater, hopefully he was able to make a getaway. And if not, someone can pick him
I think
up.
his feet are stuck in the concrete. He left them in too long.
Yeah, they're going to need a crane to get him out. But Jeff, Ken, great job. Today's Cream of the Crop. And then thank you to Bailie, Dave, and Brian. My name is Neal, and that was Triviality.
And then just finishing this list, number 4 is Mickey Mouse.
Oh,
And
okay.
then number 6, I think this is a Japan only thing, really. It's Anpan Man.
Anpan Man. The series follows the adventures of Anpan Man, a superhero with an Anpan, a bean jam-filled pastry for a head, who protects the world from an evil anthropomorphic germ named Baikin Man.
That sounds Japanese only.
Okay.